What is going on YouTube? It is the Ushanka here, and today I'm going to be bringing you a video on gun control, gun confiscation, and the Second Amendment. Alright, now I'm wearing a hat here, okay? See this hat? That's the Gadsden flag, alright? And you can't read it, but just go on Google or some website and look up what a Gadsden flag is, and it's basically a snake with the words "Don't tread on me" underneath it. And basically it means don't tread on the snake, because then he's just gonna bite you. Alright? So just some symbolism from the Vietnam War, the Revolutionary War. Alright, so basically the meaning behind that flag is that, you know, it was from the Revolutionary War period, and I'm probably going to be leaving some stuff out, but I can't really remember who came up with the idea of the Gadsden flag, but I just remember it's from the Revolutionary War times, and the flag was eventually used as a patch for the Navy SEALs, but it soon became it quickly became a patriotic flag for the conservative gun rights movement, and like for the NRA, Guns of America, Gun Owners of America, and other pro-gun activists and gun owners all across America. So the Gadsden flag is famous for that, and being associated with gun owners in America, basically saying, don't tread on me, don't try to take our guns, or else we'll bite you. You know, we're going to fight back. You know, we're not going to shoot you or anything. It's just we're going to fight back. Physically, metaphorically speaking, we're going to bite you. Like, we're not just going to let you walk all over us. We're going to do something about it. Okay? So, with regards to gun control and gun confiscation, all right, gun control will never work and has never worked. All right? The countries that have utilized gun control, like Nazi Germany, Communist China, Soviet Union, Venezuela, all these North Korea, all these these communist socialist countries, fascist countries, whatever, same crap to me, different flags. Basically, they just take the guns. The government only has the guns. You're allowed to trust in the government. That's the only thing you have to trust in. That's the only thing you have, and you're allowed to. You're only allowed to work for them, talk good about them, and that's it. And you can't own a gun to defend yourself, because the one way to overthrow a tyrannical government is to have an armed society, and you have an internal armed society that whatever the government's thugs come out and try to, take your land, take your home, take your family, take your rights away from you, you basically are letting them have it. And the ability to have a gun there is, that right that our forefathers, put in the Second Amendment. So that way, because they knew that England was a tyrannical, monarchy, and that they would take the guns from you, so that way they can have supreme rule. Because if the government has the guns, the government has all the power, you've got nothing. And you're basically stuck under their rule and under their thumb. So that's basically it with that. So, regarding gun control, FBI statistics have said that guns have saved more lives than have actually done deaths with them. And the whole assault rifle myth where, these weapons of war, are killing our children and killing people in, public places, these mass shootings. The only reasonable thing, and the thing that could solve this problem, is to ban assault rifles. Well, let me tell you a few things. If you ban assault rifles, shootings are still going to happen. Killings are still going to happen. Okay, look at England. England has a total gun ban in its country. All right? And did shooting crime go down? Somewhat, not really. There are people who still who had guns, had their guns stolen. The crime rate went up, and the types of crimes increased. So let's say when England had its, when they still were allowed to have guns, they had, gun crime, they had knife crime, they had, blunt objects, fists, and, shovels, hammers, stabbings, they had all that kind of stuff, sort of like how America has it. All right, and the myth is that, oh my God, it's just guns are more than in England. But the fact of the matter is that everything's kind of like balanced out. All right, and the types of killings, the types of weapons that are used, there's like a balance of everything. Everything just sort of happens. Some are done more than others, all that kind of stuff. So when England, before their gun ban, probably had, like the United States, had a steady amount of, knife crime, had a steady amount of, shootings, everything. But then, the moment they banned guns, the crimes in other crimes in the country went up. So stabbings went up tremendously. Stabbings did. Terrorist attacks with illegal weapons smuggled in happened and started happening. This also based on the migrant problem that England is just they're just letting these people from these migrant countries, these migrant men. That's another video for another time. So that's also the reason why crime is going up. But because they try to outlaw and ban most guns, the government is getting involved with gun owners. I mean, you can own a gun in England. You can. It's just so highly regulated. Like literally like if I had just a 22 caliber pistol, if I had that and I'd have to have a safe, which I do recommend you have to have a safe for your guns. It's safe, perfect. There's nothing wrong with having a safe. But the thing is that in England, officers can actually go to your house by random, inspect your home, inspect your safe, and inspect your firearm. Okay? In America, that doesn't happen. I mean, a cop has to, be called on you, the cops have to have a reason to be in your home, and you have to give them permission. But no, if you are a gun owner in England, you have to give up. You have to let the police in. You have to show them your safe, and you have to show them your gun, and they have to sort of like do little write-offs, or I don't know what the whole process is, but that is what I heard. If I'm wrong, please tell me. But that's what I heard with owning a gun in England. So maybe quote me on that. Don't quote me on that, but that is just something I heard, and it sounds like something England would do. I could just see the police coming in saying, "Oh, cheerio, we're here to see if you have any weapons. We know you have guns, but we just want to inspect your safe and make sure that it's not open and that there's no ammunition in the weapon. Okay? Do you have a spot of tea with a side of sherry?" Okay. I could see them doing that. All right. Call me stereotypical, but with the accent, but that's what I basically see. So anyway, with the whole gun control thing and the whole thing of banning guns, and these assault rifles, banning because making a law on paper, and trying to ban guns. The only thing you're going to get from that is our side fighting it, and if you just do it illegally and you just basically say, screw you guys, we're just going to ban guns anyway. You know what you're going to start? You're going to start a civil war in this country. That's basically what it is. The liberals can, bitch and moan about it, but, they won't do it they won't, they're doing it every day, but to just say, you know what, we're just going to ignore the Constitution, we're going to ignore the Bill of Rights, we're just going to ignore everything, screw it. Let's take all the guns. Get the National Guard, get the UN to come in, we're just going to take them all in, like Dianne Feinstein. If I had gotten all those votes in the Senate, I would have had them turn them all in, Mr. and Mrs. America. You can look that up on YouTube. There's a video of Dianne Feinstein saying that if she had gotten all the votes in Congress to have the gun, to put in a gun ban, an all outright ban, that's what she says, she would have done it in a heartbeat. And she's a gun owner too. She has a concealed carry. I think she has a little snub-nosed .38 special revolver. So her and Kamala Harris can have a gun, but us gun owners can't, here in California, be able to, we have to jump through hoops and pay all this money just to own and have a concealed carry weapon here in California. But yet these bureaucrats and these politicians, liberals, Oh, they can have a gun. Oh, you're famous. Oh, yeah, you helped run this place. Sure, here's your permit. Go buy your gun. No problem. But us regular Joes, those people in the suits and ties and the dresses who are running this place, who can barely run a city, let alone run this country, are allowed to have a gun. But us, hardworking Americans, average Joes, who work for a living and do things, putting our minds to work, putting our brains to work here, aren't allowed to have a gun to carry with us when we go out and about every day. Come on, give me a break. What a bunch of asses. All right. So anyway, gun control and gun laws do not work. Okay, I'm kind of jumping all over the place here because it's a topic that I've been thinking about, and it's kind of pissing me off. All right, because just take what I'm saying and just sort of just like let the lights start clicking on here when I'm talking about it. Okay, I'm kind of hyped about talking about this stuff because I've been trying to talk about it for a while. So, gun laws do not work, and banning guns is just going to cause more problems. A law is not going to stop anything from happening. Why? Because criminals don't follow the law. Okay? Guys who get their driver's license taken away because they speed too much, that's breaking the law. Yeah, they're doing something, but the law is there on the books. I'm not saying we shouldn't have speed limit laws. Like the speed limit law says to drive 65 in this lane, not to drive 100. It's just to keep everybody's mind in check, like, oh, I shouldn't be going 80 here. There's a law for that. I get that. But, and it's apples and oranges to gun laws. But if there's a guy who's just constantly speeding and getting pulled over, eventually he's going to get his license taken away because he's screwing up. And he's just speeding and putting other people's lives in danger. All right? Now, is that guy a bad criminal? Does he deserve to rot in jail? No. But for a gun owner, it's a different story. We don't do anything. We just have our guns. We're exercising our right to be able to own these weapons, shoot these weapons and be safe and be smart about having them, and just fulfilling our Second Amendment right to have these weapons, and because our forefathers laid it down for us. And it's like all of a sudden it's a big problem, it's a big issue. Why? Because a criminal kills it for us. A criminal did something. All right, a criminal used a weapon. He could have easily used a knife. I know there's a story in China where a guy walked into a school and stabbed like 50 kids. Maybe 50, under 50, I don't know. He stabbed a lot of kids. Like he went into a school with a butcher knife or some sort of sharp knife or sword or something, went into a school and started stabbing a bunch of kids. All right? Did he use a gun? No. Did he use a machine gun? No. A handgun? A shotgun? No. Give me a break. So see, it doesn't matter what you ban or what you do. People are still going to, criminals and murderers are still going to have and find a way to kill somebody with those intentions, all right? It's not a gun problem. It's not a knife problem, England. It is a people problem. There are no morals in this country anymore. People do not care. Morals are lost in this world and in this country. People don't respect anybody anymore. People don't believe that, I shouldn't think about killing this person or kick the crap out of him because he looked at me wrong. The reason why we have all these shootings, these stabbings, these fights, these beat-ups, is because people don't respect anybody anymore. There's no respect in this world. I mean, yeah, I cuss and I swear and I joke around and I BS, but there's no morals. Everybody who's my age, who's a millennial, is, just going to, EDM and or all these concerts and just BSing and just partying, getting high on drugs and just, they're still living the high school life. They're just like, oh yeah, I just turned 21, or oh yeah, I just turned 18. I can do whatever. I can go buy my car. Like my whole goal is just to go and just have a good time, party, all the time. Go out with my friends every weekend, do everything, all that stuff. Like I just turned 26 years old, and it's like I don't go to bars anymore. I go every once in a while, but I'm not all about trying to go on bars and do all this stuff. We're like growing up, but people my age, their 30s, they're still trying to find a way, oh, we're going to go to Coachella this year? oh, are we gonna go to EDC this year? Oh man, like, are we gonna go clubbing? It's like, I get it, have a good weekend and everything, but that stuff happens. And that's the reason why we have all these beatings and these killings and stabbings and shootings. It's because there's no morals anymore in this country. There's no respect for anybody. And that's why all these crimes are happening. And that's what government needs to crack down on, is figuring out how do we fix these people with mental illnesses. But if they have mental illnesses, which most of them do and did, find those people, the ones who commit those atrocities, all right? And don't try to bring, oh, well, we got to ban guns too while we're at it. No, find the mental illness patients, study them, bring back the mental institutions, and lock them up there. We have jails for, murderers and convicted felons. Why don't we have, jails for the people who are mentally enslaved, have mental issues? It's not a problem, okay? And it's like, come on, just like, seriously, these people need to think about this stuff. And then for gang violence, like in Detroit and Chicago, putting gun laws and having strict gun laws in those cities isn't going to do anything. These gangs go out and they steal guns. They have a black market. All you got to do is go to a bad-looking neighborhood, find somebody standing on a street corner and say, hey, I want to buy a gun. Somebody will probably lead you in the right direction to buying a gun. There is a Vice video on that. Now, I don't like Vice. I used to like Vice. Some videos that Vice do are pretty, like, interesting and informative. But, like, politics-wise, I don't give a crap about them. But let's get down to business here. I mean, Vice did a video that said the black market, talking about how to get guns on the black market for just trying to protect yourself. People buy guns, even though they're not even in a gang. They buy guns because they feel like they're afraid to get shot, and they're illegal. They can't. They have the money to where they steal the money, and then they go and they buy a gun off the street. No serial numbers, no nothing. And they have this, they get caught in the crossfire of a gang, or some other gang thinks they're associated with somebody. They try to shoot them. The other guy shoots a gun back, and then, it's just this ongoing cycle of just gang violence. And see, majority of these gang violence, where does it all take place at? It takes place in liberal-run cities. Detroit, Michigan. Detroit has some of the highest criminal and murder rates throughout the whole country. All right, Steven Crowder did a video on Detroit, and I think this was a while back. This is way before his channel was pretty big. But he did statistics on it and everything. I have to go back and watch it, but definitely go check out Steven Crowder on YouTube at Detroit, talking about Detroit. And there's one thing that I'm going to pull from here involving the gun laws and everything and all this stuff. Detroit, up until that video was made, Detroit was, and I believe it still is, has been run by Democratic mayors for the past 60 years. For 60 years, the liberals have run Detroit. Look at it. They've run all the jobs out of town. They never fix the criminal elements there, the gangs, nothing. The Motor City it's gone. It's done. There's nothing there. It looks like Chernobyl. All right, it looks severe, beyond rundown. All right, you can't walk anywhere at night over there in that city. It's scary. So why do I bring up the liberals on this? Well, it's because liberals have run that city, and liberals have banned guns. They promised people, empty promises. They told people that. People voted them in. Nobody gets an education. Nobody gets to learn it. Everyone just stays at a ground level. There's no jobs. So what are people to do? They join gangs. They get guns. They shoot at people. They rob people. Even people who aren't criminals and who have guns, they steal them, sell them, either use it themselves or they sell the guns, and there's a huge crime problem. And what does the liberal media see? Oh, they don't talk about that, but they'll talk about a mass shooting and how we need to ban all guns. But see, they want to talk about banning the guns, but what about the people? We got to do something about the people. Start working on cracking down on these crimes, on these thugs. Start working on that, but they won't do it. It's unheard of. No, the easiest thing to do is just ban the guns. Why? Because we don't believe anybody should have it. We want to be the ones in charge. We want to be the authoritarians and run you and run, this place like an oiled machine in our eyes. And that is what these liberal politicians see. You look at Detroit, you look at Los Angeles, you look at New York, New Jersey, all these states that have high gun control, they are suffering from the worst crime and the worst gun and other murderous acts across the country. All right, and the states and counties that have very lenient, very lax gun laws, they're like some of the safest. They're like some of the safest cities and states in the country, in the world. No shootings at all. If there is a shooting, it happens like once every 10 years or something like that, because everybody has a gun. You go to these flyover states that they don't have, not a lot of people go there. They have a big city, but, they're, not really known for anything. Other than like farming or something. These flyover states like breadbasket of America, like Kentucky and, all that, the central United States. You go, everybody has a gun. Everybody knows each other, and they all have guns, but nobody gets shot. You'd think like, everybody has a gun. A society with guns is a safe society. All right, it's true, because no one's going to screw with you if you have a gun. All right, no one's going to do anything if you have a gun. They're not going to screw with you. You think that people, do you see videos? A lot of videos. Have you seen a lot of videos of gun robberies in broad daylight during business operating hours at pawn shops that sell guns, at gun stores, at gun shows? Do you see any of those types of crimes where somebody just runs in, pulls a gun out, and starts, and holds the place up and says, "Give me all your guns and ammo"? Do you think that happens? Hell no, because every gun store I ever go to, every store owner or merchant there has a gun strapped to their hip. They don't play around. They're not trying to get themselves robbed or shot up because somebody wants to break in, steal 20 guns, and then turn around and sell them on the black market or commit crimes with them. It's their business, and they pull out a big insurance policy so that way if somebody tries to break in during someone's stupid enough to break in during business hours to steal guns, all they got to do is pull their guns out and blow the guy away. That's what they got to do. All right? And see, but the liberals do not see that. Gun control activists do not see that. And so that's why gun laws will never work. Nothing at all. Because it's just a piece of paper. It's writing on a piece of paper. And these senators, these lawyers, these whoever they are who go up there and advocate for it, they don't know anything about guns. In California, we have some of the strictest gun laws in this state. And California and its gun laws are like a model for every other blue state's gun control laws, like New Jersey and New York. Okay, California starts it, every other liberal state sees that and adopts it, or they take it to the next level, which is pretty, it's like bad. Okay, so I don't even know what shooting it was, but there was a mass shooting, and somebody said that the bullet button, if you know what a bullet button is, go on YouTube and look up what a bullet button is. Okay, it's basically the little button on your AR or your AK. It's a lock, so that way you can't, you have your gun like this, and you have your little finger that pushes the button and releases the magazine. Well, that was in the school shooting on mainstream media. I think it was Fox News, surprisingly. And shame on them for saying that, because I want to say it was CNN, but I know it was Fox News that said, well, one of the reporters said, Oh, it involved a bullet button where it allows you to switch it to fully auto if you tinker with it. My God, if these people ever got a clue about guns or knew anything about weapons at all, read a book, look at a video, look at something. But they don't do that. They just automatically assume, like, oh, we heard it from this person and they said it was because of that. It must be true, so we're not going to fact check it. We're just going to, just go with it. And it just got in the minds of everybody and every politician, especially the ones in California, and said, oh, we got to get rid of that bullet button. We got to get rid of it because it can convert every weapon to full auto. So now, if you have a bullet button, which it hinders you. It's designed to hinder you from being able to load your magazine faster because you have to actually use the tip of a bullet or a pin or something to push a button. It's like a metal housing around the magazine release to where you push the little button with a bullet or a pin or something to release the magazine. It takes time. It's not easy. It's not practical to make a mass shooting. It has nothing to do with full auto or anything. And that's just an example. I mean, look at Kevin DeLeon, and he's talking about the ghost gun meme. All right, go to a legit YouTuber who talks about ARs, and I'm just saying, go on YouTube and find somebody who talks and knows everything about ARs, like an AR-15, just some random AR-15. Let him talk about the magazine. Let him see the video being shot. See if it's like an hour long video of these guys showing how an AR-15 works, how everything works on an AR-15. Watch the video, and then go watch Kevin DeLeon's video on what a ghost gun is and how he describes what a ghost gun is. Okay? But all the little stats that he's saying, all the numbers, because he's trying to advocate for unregistered weapons being made, like homemade weapons, like, oh, they're not serialized, so, these people could just make weapons and, anybody could become a mass killer. And again, another advocation for gun control and gun laws, that people couldn't make their own guns at homes with their 80% lowers. But the little statistics that he says, are not true at all for how an AR-15 works. Okay, watch a legit video of somebody who knows what they're doing with ARs or AKs or something, and then watch Kevin DeLeon's video and do a compare and contrast. These people are in charge and they're saying this stuff, and it's like people buy it because they don't know. Just because you don't like guns, or oh, it's a guy thing or whatever, or I'm not interested, I'm more of a car guy. I believe everybody who has a good brain on their shoulders, has some decency in their hearts, should own a gun. Everyone should be able to, and we do have that right to own a gun. But I believe that you should have the right, everybody should have the right, and everybody should own a gun. Because it's a way of protecting yourself. But you get these politicians who tell you, oh, you shouldn't do that because, these are dangerous, killing machines. They just get up and start shooting people. But again, it is not the weapon. The gun is just a tool. Like a hammer is to a nail. Like paint is to a brush. Like stucco is to the wall. It's just, these things can't be without the function of a human. A human has to pick that gun up. And what the person does with that gun all comes from here. The heart, the soul, and the mind. It is a mental thing. It is a soul thing. It is a heart thing. And that is what the intentions of what you do with that weapon is what is going to result in how you're going to be. Everything you do, there is a cause and effect. All right? So what you do with that gun, with that tool, because anybody could easily just pick up a hammer out of a shed and go down the street, and the first person they see, and just whack them in the head with it and beat them to death with it, smash their head in, But some people don't do that. It's just like owning a gun. You don't just get a gun, start waving it around, and, say, oh, look, I got a gun. I have a gun here. No. All right? The hammer, the only reason you use a hammer for is what? You use it for construction. You use it for working on stuff that involves wood and holding pieces of wood up to other wood and all that stuff. There's a reason for a hammer. There's a reason for having that hammer. So, with that being said, the same thing for a gun. A gun is, again, having the right to own it, being responsible for having it, because the Second Amendment is there for your right to own these weapons for threats, foreign and domestic, and to, if your government starts to go haywire, because they knew, our founding fathers knew that through time, men and governments change. All right? And mentalities change. And ways of thinking change. Not everybody was going to think like them and have their mentality. So they have to put in that, you have the right to bear these arms, so if your government starts going tyrannical, you can start another revolution, your militia, and defend yourselves, all right? And take up arms against these people who are starting to go against the ways of the Constitution, all right? So, that being said, and with that, out of the way, basically, I've given you some videos to what to look up. You can rewind and look them back up. These videos, again, videos are Steven Crowder, Detroit, Kevin DeLeon's video on the ghost guns, and then any AR-15 video that you can find out there of somebody who knows what they're talking about and describing the functions, the numbers, all the facts that involve when shooting an AR-15 or an AK or something. Just have the facts checked up, all right? And find a video that looks like that. I can't think of anything on top of my mind. I would say Iraq veteran 88, but you could try someone else. I don't know. Whatever video fits. So, that's it. So, yeah, basically, gun control doesn't work. It causes more deaths, and that's basically it. All right, and any other, and again in history, any country that has implemented gun control, people have gotten killed. They've been oppressed, and it took a long time for them to overcome that kind of stuff. Okay, and that's basically it. All right, I will leave you with a quick example. When Hitler came into power and took all the guns and he invaded Poland, he rounded up, in Germany, started rounding up all the Jews and putting them in ghettos. And there were, the Jews, maybe some had some guns, maybe the Jews never owned